Several times so far, I've mentioned leading a healthier, longer life. Now, why is that? Well, health is crucial to our enjoyment of later life. Can't call it retirement anymore because I've decided to banish it for you. But there is a point in our lives as our bodies begin to age and tire, we can't do the things that we once used to be able to do. There's a natural inclination, tendency, just give it up. I'm not going to do that anymore, or you may even have got out of the habit of doing things that you used to do, perhaps because you simply find it more difficult. If you were a 4 handicap golfer when you were younger and suddenly you get into your late 40s and you're struggling to play to an 18 handicap, that can be quite disruptive to your mental well-being. You may just decide to throw the clubs into the shed, never to see the light of day again. You wouldn't be alone. Happens to lots of people. When I was young, I was very fit. I won the school cross-country race. I rode horses, played lots of hockey. I actually carried on riding horses until my early 40s. Sadly, like a lot of people that ride, particularly at a decent level, which is what I did, my nerve went. I suddenly couldn't find myself comfortable on a sports horse's back, and I certainly didn't want to jump fences anymore. So I stopped riding. It was then the effect of other lifestyle habits I'd perhaps become accustomed to, but unaware were having an impact on me. So too much alcohol, eating convenience food, just basically letting myself go. So I put on a considerable amount of weight. And by my late 40s, I wasn't in very good shape at all. Unfortunately, I'd had several experiences of low moods. And because of stress and pressure at work, I decided that the time was probably right to go and talk to the doctor about the way I was feeling about life. He sent me off to see a psychologist, and it's the first time in my life I was diagnosed with depression. And as we began to discuss it, I actually discovered for the first time, or realized for the first time, that some periods of my life had, I thought, not just been one where I was miserable and low, but in fact suffering from depression. The doctors gave me an antidepressant drug to take, which I dutifully did. I took these drugs for a couple of weeks, only to get some rather bizarre side effects. So I went back to the doctor, and he said, "Oh, they're not working," so gave me a different prescription. I didn't take it. Decided I didn't like the side effects. I put up with the moods, but I spent a lot more time trying to deal with them with a psychologist's help. But I was becoming increasingly unhealthy. Work was difficult and challenging, and at the time, my late wife was going through the final stages of her fight against cancer. So I went back to the doctor, and a locum saw me, and I had cholesterol issues, high blood pressure, as well as depression. So there was a pile of tablets and medication that he wanted to prescribe. And I just had a aversion to it, so I didn't do anything about it. Several months later, on a regular trip to the doctor, my blood pressure was through the roof. And I saw a different GP. And she looked at the results and we talked about it, and she said, "Well, look, why don't we give Mother Nature a go?" We agreed a time frame over which I would do something about my alcohol intake, my diet, and some exercise. So cutting a long story short, I lost 14 pounds in weight and gradually got fitter. But more importantly for me, my blood pressure was more under control. And with the changes in diet, my cholesterol had also reduced. Today, I take no medication. I'm much fitter than I've ever been. At 61, I can run 5K quicker than most 40-year-olds, and I take a regular amount of exercise. It's taken me quite a long time to regain my fitness, but it's a crucial part of the way I live. It's also important to remember that physical exercise and your physical health can have a profound effect on your mental well-being, and vice versa. We'll come back to mental welfare in a moment, but there are countless studies which show that our longevity, especially our health span rather than lifespan, can be enhanced by the level of exercise that we take. When I wrote the book, The R Word, Time to Retire Retirement, by weird coincidence, I was in a hotel in Chicago, and on the news, ABC News, there was a piece about a gentleman called Azrael or Al Blackman. He was an American Airlines employee, and they were celebrating his 75th working anniversary with American Airlines. It wasn't a retirement party, it was a celebration of the fact that he was the longest served aviation employee in history. The next time you take an American Airlines flight, it's quite possible that Al Blackman has signed it off to be airworthy. He began work for American Airlines in 1942. Proof positive that remaining active can and does have a profound impact on how long and how well you can live. So that's just two examples of many I could provide you with of people who've continued to stay fit and healthy, and as a consequence enjoyed the passions and jobs that they have pursued for many years, rather than to see retirement as an end. I mentioned that mental well-being or mental health are really crucial to our longevity and health and happiness in later life. One simple key, and indeed simple habit you can adopt to help you with your mental health or mental well-being is to continue learning throughout life, a lifetime of learning. It isn't somehow that as we age we're incapable of learning or that we've forgotten how to. But I suspect to a degree we're simply conditioned by the way that life stages in our lives are taught to us when we're younger, lead us to believe that we no longer need to learn. We go to school, we learn, we go to universities or begin our careers, and oftentimes that's assumed to be enough. I remember many years ago meeting a chap who'd had 25, maybe 30-year career. I can't remember exactly at the time. My then boss was quite critical of this guy, said the problem with him is he's had 1 year's experience, which he's repeated 30 times. It's quite common for humans to do that. We get a little bit lazy. We are lazy. One of the reasons that so much progress is created in humanity is we like to find easier and quicker ways of doing things. But continuing to learn and continuing to grow and expand our minds is a great way to help us maintain not just our mental well-being, but also our physical fitness and therefore our long-term happiness.